having me here. I am Siobhan Riley, and as you mentioned, I am a reporter at Fox 13, and it is my pleasure to be here. I want to congratulate the class of 2021. You know, I know this year has not been easy. I know last year has not been easy. Raise your hand if you have experienced some major challenges just within the past year. I just want to commend you for continuing to just keep standing despite how challenging things have been. I have interviewed countless families through a franchise that I do at work, and it's called Making It in the Mid-South. And I have talked to many people who their parents lost their lives or lost their jobs rather during the pandemic. And some people lost their lives actually during the pandemic as well. And I saw stories where some of the kids, so the high school seniors, had to work just to help the family pay the bills. But I want to say, I don't know your story, but I want to say just keep standing. I don't know how hard life is, but I can tell you, I can speak from my own personal experience, that when you keep standing, you can move mountains. And as you just heard of many speakers talk about moving mountains, I want to talk to you today about perseverance. And when you think about the word perseverance, perseverance is persistence in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. I want to encourage you today, no matter how hard it gets, continue to keep going. Don't ever let someone tell you what you cannot do. Just Saturday, I went out with some friends from Black women, women of color who work in TV here. There were 11 of us, and we took a picture. And the reason that we took the picture was because we wanted to show people that it doesn't matter what you go through, you can do anything you want to do. Don't ever let someone tell you what you cannot accomplish. I am that person who was told, you will never be a journalist. You will never succeed. You should quit. But guess what? I am still standing. And real quickly, I just want to give you 3 key points about how do you keep standing in the middle of a tough situation. That's hard to do. It's hard for me some days to go to work, some days, and keep smiling. It's hard for me to some days go to work and keep telling stories whether it's a story about someone who just lost their life, whether it's a story about someone who was in jail, or even the positive stories. That's why I enjoy telling the positive stories. But I still have to learn how to keep standing no matter how hard it gets. And the reason that I enjoy doing motivational speaking is because you are looking at someone who was told in the 3rd grade, I could not comprehend on a 3rd grade level. When I got in 6th grade, I was told that my reading comprehension was on a 3rd grade level as well. And you would never think that someone who struggled with reading, not that I couldn't read, but I would read a book and it was very hard for me to comprehend what I was reading. But guess what? I am still standing. And the reason that I was able to accomplish that is because I did not quit. And when I was in the 6th grade, I remember I was in an English class with advanced learners, and a teacher pulled me out of the class and put me in a class with kids who were less advanced, who couldn't comprehend, who struggled with reading. But guess what? I am still standing. And I want to say to you, I don't know what you're going through, but keep standing. Life is not easy. You're looking at somebody who every day I deal with obstacles, but I'm still standing. And anytime things get hard for you, just remember the girl in the 3rd grade who was told that she could never be a news reporter. And I'm going to tell you, my job is a very tough job. And it's actually, if you ever do your research, it's top 5 most stressful jobs in the country. Because every day I get new topics, and sometimes I have to go through hundreds of pages, and I have to break it down. I have 1 minute and 15 seconds to break it down for millions and sometimes thousands of viewers. But again, all of that is reading comprehension. The same person who was told she could not be a journalist. So the point that I'm making is that if I can do it, so can you. And that's what my first point is. Do not quit. That's the first step you have to take to perseverance. You cannot quit. Anybody in here ever feel like quitting? For me, almost many days. I can't tell you how many times I have felt like quitting. But again, if you quit, that means everything you worked so hard for is in vain. And I know we don't have quitters, correct? So when you graduate, don't quit. Some of you will go on to college, some of you will go on straight into the workforce, but do not quit, okay? The second thing that you have to do, again, how do you keep standing in the middle of a tough situation? Don't block out the naysayers. Yes, I said don't block out the naysayers. Most people would tell you block out the haters, but I'm going to tell you why you need your haters. Because your haters are going to be the ones to make you step your game up. I did sports. I was a track runner and I did soccer. And I was pretty good. But there were people who would try to tear me down. And even in my job now, there are people who try to tear me down. And I remember my very first on-air job at a college was in Gainesville, Florida. And I was the only person of color in the entire newsroom. The only person of color. And I remember there were women every day, they would go to work, and there was a website, this is way before your time, called MySpace, which is basically like a Facebook. And they would go on there, and I remember one girl said, she can't possibly last long. They need to get rid of her. And then another girl said, I am so sick and tired of quota. Basically saying that she felt that the only reason that I got the job was to reach the 10% in the newsroom. But again, thank you. If I could see them today, I would say thank you, because they made me who I am today. And so there are going to be people in your life that will not like you. There are going to be people in your life who are going to do everything to try to get you to fail. But don't block them out. You need them. I had a manager tell me one time, it will never happen for you. You are just not good enough. That same job in Gainesville, Florida, that's what a manager told me. Are you sure you want to do this? This was in 2006. It's 2021, and I'm still standing. And those same naysayers are no longer even doing this anymore. They're not even in the business. So sometimes we can spend so much time harping on the people who want us to quit, and they're not even around anymore. And I remember that year, 2006, I would call my dad in tears. And I would say, Dad, I just want to quit. I just want to come home. Again, that was my first time being home after I graduated from college. And my dad said, toughen up. He didn't have any sympathy. He just said, toughen up. And yes, I was upset. But guess what? I toughened up. And I did not quit. The very last thing I want to tell you about how to keep standing in the middle of a tough situation is you have to do better. What do I mean by that? There is a book out by Russell Simmons, and it's called Do You. But I would say to you, don't just do you, do better. A lot of times we get criticized, the news, we do get criticized for sometimes reporting negative stories, but I can tell you that I also do stories about people who are doing well. And I look for stories for people like you who are doing great work in the community. And I do get tired of sometimes when I watch the news and I see young men going to jail. I just did a story a few weeks ago about I believe it was a 15-year-old who was going to spend the rest of his life in jail for a murder. And that's why I say we got to do better. Don't just settle. Don't just say, well, I'm okay with being an average student. Don't just do you, do better. graduate, as you walk across the stage, think about what's next for you. Do better. Trust me, I'm a person of color, and I understand that sometimes people do work against us. And it is hard when you are a person of color. You will have to work a lot harder, but still, always give it your all. There are going to be people who will say, you know what, they're going to be harder, but do better. If you don't give it your all, it's hard to succeed. Do better. So don't just do you, do better. And I will leave you with this. Last thing I want to say, I'm going to leave you with this, is when I wanted to go to college, I always said that I wanted to go to North Carolina A&T, back home where I'm from, because they have a very good journalism program. But I'm a student, when I was growing up, I wasn't a straight A student, K through 12th grade. I had I think my GPA was probably like a 2.5 graduating from high school. It wasn't great, but I saw something better. And I remember applying for college, and I didn't get in the first time. And I had to take this test. There was a test that you could take, and they said, we know you have the potential to go to college. If you pass this test, you can go to North Carolina A&T. You don't have to go to a community college. You can come straight to North Carolina A&T. So I took the test, and guess what happened? I failed. I didn't pass. I failed. By 1 point. And they told me, we're sorry, Siobhan, you can't come to A&T, to North Carolina A&T, but you can go to a community college, and in 2 years, you will get in. And so my mom said, where do you want to go to school? And I said, of course you know I want to go to North Carolina A&T. She said, I want you to take a sheet of paper, and I want you to write down, I will go to North Carolina A&T all 4 years. And I said, but Mom, they told me I didn't get in. She said, where is your faith? And I was like, but Mom, I'm looking at the situation right now. They told me I didn't get in. And she said again, where is your faith? And so 3 weeks later, they called and they said, I know you failed the test by just 1 point. We're going to allow you to come to North Carolina A&T all 4 years. And not only did I go all 4 years, I graduated top 10% of my class. The same person who told you I had a 2.5 GPA. So again, don't just do you.